Hey y'all. So I uploaded a video early this morning. It was kind of a two-parter, and I only uploaded the second part because I didn't think it was too bad where I didn't name anybody's names. But I decided it only got like 7 views, so I don't really think it's gonna, piss anybody off. And I really feel so strongly about how irresponsible all these channels are being and how greedy they are. And I'm just hoping that we can somehow have a powwow about it and somehow get some change going. I mean, that's how it happens, right? Because it cannot go on this way. I mean, irresponsible doesn't even begin to describe it, really, because if you think about it, they are spreading so much hate. And by having these places being so open to not having truth and having lies and allowing people to just be so thick-headed and it's giving a voice and a forum to people that otherwise would not act like that, because they tend to follow the host. And if the host is reasonable and kind of, in the middle, like Lawyer Lee, I mean, yeah, she gets on my nerves like crazy with all her thank yous, but she's really, really unbiased. Half the time she won't even tell you her opinion in a case because, well, at first I thought it was because she didn't want to put her slant on it, but now I'm wondering, does she do it like everyone else? Because if she's not for the side that gets the most super chats, she doesn't want to alienate her audience. I don't even know anymore. I just don't trust anybody except for Boundless. He's like the only one with real integrity that I'm such a super fan of. But other than that, I don't even know what anybody's motives are. I mean, it's terrible. And I used to be such a great judge of character, but now I don't even know. I mean, the carpet is on the ceiling and the ceramic tile is on the... Wait, how does that go? Oh, forget that analogy. Let's find another one. Up is down and down is up. How about we keep it simple? It's just so bad. I mean, there has to be a way to rein in these charlatans, if you will. I don't know. It's just bugging me so much. I got it in my head that there's a way to institute change in this, because I'm not going to go down without a fight, losing my favorite pastime, which is YouTube. I don't even want to hardly look at anything anymore. Every channel I click on, I just want to go through the screen and just set it on fire. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible. So anyway, here's the video. It's like I said, I if you watched it already, I mean, it can't even be more than 5 people, and I'm sure they didn't even listen for longer than a second or two. So I'm not too worried about it. But anyway, here it is. And thanks for the few of you that do listen. And if you do comment, I really appreciate it. Good or bad, because, there's hardly anything for me to do now so I can respond to comments, because I sure can't watch YouTube because there's nothing on that interests me. But tomorrow's the Alec Baldwin trial, so things are looking up a little bit. But we'll see how hateful everybody can get and how irresponsible our content creators can act with that trial. I just don't think there's a floor. I know there's no ceiling, but is there a floor? Anyway, all right, y'all. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye. Oh my goodness, y'all. It's getting so bad. Now, I don't even know if my iPhone will record this long a rant that I intend to have, but oh my goodness, it's so bad out there, grifting. And you know what is so bad? I have complained about this before. I think when I first started seeing all these super chats and how these channel creators were just milking everybody, it wasn't anywhere near as bad as it is now. Or it wasn't as bad because I did believe that they were being true to their feelings about things and they were just voicing them and they had a following and people were like, yeah, and they were giving them money and super chats. And I was like, okay, God bless. I mean, I didn't like that they were interrupting their show every second to say, thank you, really appreciate that. Oh yeah, welcome to the channel. I mean, it was annoying and it still is annoying. But the truth of the matter is, it is 20 times more annoying now because these channel creators not only are interrupting their show and reducing the quality of their content by saying thank you every 2 seconds, many of these content creators, if not 99%, are giving false narratives. I mean, they're siding with the public on whatever opinion is the most popular. So they're just, I don't want to say lying, but they're faking their true opinion. And the reason why I say faking is nobody in their right mind nobody that is clear thinking, like channel creators. I'm not saying every single one of them are geniuses, but they're not your average person because they give thought to what they're saying. They give thought to the content they provide. And any person that devotes enough time to what they're saying would realize that promoting causes that are just public outrage over things that the people who are publicly outraged, they don't even have all the facts. They just, something rubs them the wrong way or they see a snippet and they're like, oh, wow, this, I won't stand for this. This is a setup, a conspiracy. It's fake, it's false. And they Google that in YouTube. And of course, these channel creators that are trying to pander to these type of people so they can get more super chats and higher super chats, they come up in the results. And it is sickening and maddening. And there's one offender that I just cannot believe because he is a lawyer that is still practicing. So there's less excuse. I mean, if he were a retired old guy or something and he had started his YouTube channel and, this was supplementing his income, I might not be so annoyed, although I still probably would be annoyed if I felt that he wasn't really being honest about what he thought. He was just going with the tide. But I know I would not be as annoyed as I am because, quite frankly, this one channel I've been zoning in on, and every single day you look at the count and he has gone up 1 to 2 to 3,000 subscribers from the last time I checked, which is usually a day or two earlier. And it is blowing my mind because I know that he cannot possibly believe the extent of the things he's saying, but he's just saying them and he is buying into the propaganda and spreading it, which is making it so much worse. And I mean, there's a point where I remember before the Karen Reed case started, this particular channel had around 305 subscribers. And I remember that because my other channel, which I really liked at the time before they started pandering, worked so hard for every subscriber they got. And they only had 105,000 at the time. And they were at it almost the same amount of time as this other channel. But for whatever reason, people preferred the other channel. And I hadn't really noticed that he was pandering like that, and I don't think he was. I think he was giving you the straight dope on both sides because there wasn't such a uneven amount of people, so I guess there was no need for him to grift, if you will. But now, ever since the Karen Reed case, I mean, like I said, he started with like 300 and some odd low numbers, 305,000. And he would say in, his daily chat, which really annoyed me, that the way he was covering the trial every single day, he would just get on And he would say how great the defense did. And I mean, that's all he talked about, how wonderful they were, and that this case should never have come to trial, and it's going to be over in a flash. And I mean, every now and again, he would interject like, but the prosecution did say, but it was like 1% compared to 99%. And the thing that was so maddening is I remember just maybe a month ago, or a month and a half ago, he would say things like, let's see if we can get to 10,000 likes. We've never had 10,000 people in the chats. And guess how many are in the chats these days? About 30,000 to 35,000. And he's going for 20,000 likes. And I'm just like, good Lord, I am sorry, but that is just wrong. And it's wrong because you can tell it's not just me. It used to be just me because I always notice things way before other people do. But this time I've seen in all the other chats that I actually stay in and contribute to and don't just lurk for a few minutes to see the flavor of what's of the day. They're all so fed up with that channel, and they all agree that he is just milking everything for every dime it's worth. And it's disgusting. And it's not just that channel. Oh, goodness. He is not the only offender. I had a subscription to maybe 10 to 15 channels before the Karen Reed case began. And I think I have 2 now. And it's really disheartening. So I did want to complain about that. I just don't understand how these people, these channel creators in good conscience can just make so much money off the blood of John O'Keefe and not even have a fund for him or even have a charity. It just seems mind-boggling to me. I mean, I could understand how people like Turtleboy that has no soul can make money, and plus he's going to need it for his legal costs and such, so it's not like all profit. But the other channel, he's just putting in his pocket. My goodness, he stopped his vacation each day while the verdict was, they were deliberating, to come on for an hour and a half. And he's on vacation with his family at Disney. And I just found that so deplorable. And of course, it reminded me of Vinnie Politan, because at one time, Vinnie Politan was such a respected commentator. And I really liked him. And then I started to see him get on the grift and start to, fake outrage over things and start screaming at us. And then the other day, a couple of months ago, I saw him at home turn on his channel and just grab a mic and start doing a live. And now he does that all the time. And you can't even tell the difference between him and Court TV, because they're a channel, for heaven's sake. And they're sitting there getting super chats and asking for memberships. And I just don't get it. I mean, I don't get it. But there is one other thing that I wish there was something we could do. I wish there was a way that we could protect ourselves from having channels behave that way. Or if they started to behave that way, that there would be some kind of voting system that we could rate them. Like we could rate the channel. That would be so wonderful. Before you start watching a channel, I mean, yeah, you could read the comments, but who has that kind of time? But there should really be a rating on each one of these channels. I really think I'm onto something here. Wouldn't that be so great? You see a channel and you go to the rating, and then under the rating, there's, a couple of keywords like there is on Amazon, and you can see right off the bat, is this channel a money grab? Is it a grifter? Because there are channels out there that, while they are monetized, that is not their sole purpose for being there. And that's all I ask. Yes, monetize your channel. Yes, make some money. Godspeed. I don't have a problem with that. But my goodness, if that is the only purpose in your life, to get up there, grab a mic, start a live, and cash in, and cha-ching, cha-ching, it's nauseating. And I don't know how we can address it, or as subscribers, I don't know what we can do. But I'd love to have a think tank about it. Anyway, the second thing is, now I think there's something that's happening that's unbelievable. And I think it's like almost becoming a grifter without even realizing it. Meaning, that's not your intention. It's not that you just see dollar signs and you say, oh, wow, But I mean, I hate to bring this person up. In fact, I did bring it up in a chat a few weeks ago, and someone that I really liked, and we had really good conversations in the chats on a daily basis. She got so offended because I brought this woman up and said that she's becoming, she's over milking her situation. She's written a book. She goes on these tours. She talks and makes appearances everywhere. She's held like this poor woman, and everyone just feels so bad for her. But she's making a career out of losing her son. And I understand that it is life-altering and all of that, but I think there's a line that you don't cross. I think when you get so glammed up and now you're running like all these chats and you're guest starring everywhere, and I just think that you're sucked in and you don't even realize it. And to the average observer, everybody's just like, oh, that poor woman. But that's not what it is anymore. I mean, when I first saw her make a victim impact statement 5 years ago at Katie Magbanawala's trial, I was so touched. I mean, it was really sad, and I just felt her pain so strong. But that was before all the glam and the makeover and all the appearances at CrimeCon and all the different funds and the book that she wrote and the guest appearances and the, seminars that she attends and makes. And it's too much. It's just too much. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, I think that when you lose a child, getting involved in some of these support groups is crucial. You cannot just go crawl in a ball and die. You have to, and some of them have been so beneficial. And like if you take, Mark class for poly classes, murder, or John Walsh, things like that. They weren't in your face, and they weren't just a money grab. I mean, it was to spread awareness, to give support. It was just done right. Now, maybe because of the age of social media, it can no longer be done that way, and it's just, the nature of the beast. I don't know. But if I were somebody who lost a child and I was speaking out about it, I would try to keep myself in check. But how can she, I guess, when everybody's just like, oh, you poor woman, oh, you poor woman. And nobody is realizing that they're being simps and they're enabling her and they're being too much of an empath. And it's too much. I just think it's too much. So maybe I'm just heartless. Maybe I notice way too many things. But I really love the whole purpose of this rant is in the comments. What can we do about it? I mean, are we just subject to just every time someone that we admire and want to support goes over the edge and becomes too big and too famous and gets too much money that we then just say, oh, forget them, let's cut them off? Shouldn't there be a way that these people that are suddenly thrust in the spotlight, I mean, take Becky, I can't think of her last name, but the Murdoch trial, I felt so bad for her because I believe that she just was so ill-equipped to handle the fame, and she didn't know how to act. And I thought it was the responsibility of the courts to hold a class and say, hey, when we have a high-profile case, here are the do's and don'ts. Don't do this, don't do that, and if they had taken her aside, and if the courts were to do that more in the future, I think a lot of these cases would have a better outcome. And a lot of these people that are getting in trouble for talking, Michael Proctor, oh my goodness, I'll get on him in a second. But I think if there was education out there for how to behave when you suddenly find yourself with a really strong opinion or you're thrust into the limelight, I just wish that instead of just a few people like me and a couple other commenters that sit around saying, oh man, that we could somehow prevent it by somehow getting the word out that when something big in your life happens, you need to keep yourself in check. You need to consult with people that can help you move forward so that you don't take the absolute biggest misstep ever and wind up, totally destroyed life, I mean, it would be so great. But anyway, just back to Michael Proctor. Excuse me. I had a back and forth with someone that couldn't believe that I was on his side. And, I'm never usually, I don't like men or anyone to be so hateful and horrible in describing another person. I just hate when people go there. If you didn't let yourself personally attack people, you wouldn't believe how much better this world would be. But that ain't happening anytime soon. But I did defend him. And the reason I did is for very many reasons that I felt left out of the narrative. And if it had been brought into the narrative and stressed as strenuously as what he said was stressed, and people made their own decisions and said, okay, well, yeah, I guess I could kind of see that, it would have softened the blow of what he did. And the things that I feel should have been stressed were, yeah, it was horrible what he said about her. But there were aggravating factors, or I guess not aggravating factors, mitigating factors, that had him come to that opinion so quickly, that he was texting his friend in his personal text. Now, they should know going forward, there's no such thing as privacy, but this was 3 years ago. And people didn't realize how that you can't say anything anymore. But this was 3 years ago, so let's take it in context with the times that we had. He thought it was being private. And he said these horrible things because she's sitting there saying, I hit him, and got all the evidence that he had gathered to that point had him form an opinion. But just an opinion, it doesn't mean that his opinion went and put his investigation into action against her. However, I don't think the things he said were that horrible. I really don't. I mean, were they flattering? No. And calling her the C word, well, hell, I've heard so much these past few years, I think I'm just numb to it. But yeah, he didn't seem like the kind of horrible guy that, to me, it's not just the word you use, it's how you mean it. And he was just, have you ever text somebody? You just throw these texts off the cuff. I mean, if he was sitting there writing an article about her where he was weighing every word and going back and correcting, then you might say, okay, this is bad, like Turtleboy. But he's not doing that, He just was off the cuff, throwing these things out there. And the thing that was so horrible about the way it played out and the flack that he got for that and the hate is that if anyone should have gotten that kind of hate, it should have been Alan Jackson, because that was such a low blow to take those private texts that no one had heard but a handful of people. I mean, yes, the FBI gave them to the defense, but it was their choice to go and run with it and to sit there and scream the things that he had said and repeat them over and over and get so graphic in his... I mean, he said things that she didn't say. He said balloon knot, and you've got Alan Jackson screaming, her anus, her anus. I mean, it was almost funny if it wasn't so sad. And it was so vile the way that Alan Jackson was humiliating Karen to make his point, that the judge shut him down in the middle of him saying, her anus, her anus. He was like, come to the bench. And he came back, and then when he was carrying on with his tirade, he said, well, I won't go into the actual descriptive words, because she shut him down because it was so ridiculous. So I don't know. I really don't know where we go from here. I know for myself, I have been so bored because some of the channels that I used to love to go on the lives every day and, pass the time watching them, I can't even tune in. I can't do it. I think there's like 2 channels. So my poor husband, I've been, going out in the living room and watching shows, or making us watch shows, I should say, that he can't stand. But, I can't stand his shows, so we have to compromise. And I used to just let him watch whatever he wanted while I stayed in and watched my lives or whatever. But there's almost no content out there for me to absorb, or what is that word? I don't know. Again, my words fail me. So yeah, I wish there was some sort of solution here and not just me bitching. And if y'all have any kind of suggestions, I mean, I have a lot of free time, but I don't want to obsess about this. I would just love to, I don't know, brainstorm on it and get somewhere. And of course, there are people out there so much smarter than me and so much more capable. And I just wish that if we were to come up with something great, maybe we could email somebody that, said, oh yeah, this is a good idea. Let me put it on my channel. And, because I mean, my channel has, I hardly ever post to my channel anymore. Really, I just make videos about my cat Bella. And they're not even videos, they're shorts. And they're so cute, so you can watch a couple. I mean, you should watch a couple because she's just so damn precious. But yeah, it hasn't even, I haven't even had any incentive to, make any videos. I mean, it's just getting so bad, and it's depressing for me because I used to love YouTube so much. I have YouTube Premium. It's $12.99, and I always used to feel like, oh my goodness, this is the bargain of a lifetime considering what's going on out there and how much everything costs. And I can just, sit on YouTube all day long for $12.99 a month. It's great. But that is almost no longer the case. So if y'all have any comments, I would so love to hear them. Hopefully y'all agree with me. I love when people agree with me. I'm not going to lie, but it isn't absolutely necessary. Any opinion that you have, I would love to hear. So thanks for listening and take care.